Aliens.
Wow.
Welcome
We're
back, friend.
back.
Season 3, baby.
Oh man, season 3, episode 1. Here we are.
Love it. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Amy. And this is
Girls Gone
Gone Spooky.
Hey.
I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're super excited to be back. We've spent a lot of time during our little summer break mapping out what the new season's gonna look like. I feel nervous. I feel like
I know.
a long time.
I'm out of practice.
Okay.
I know, especially because now we're recording video. So
I know. I had just gotten back from the gym. I showered and I was like, shit, I have to put a little bit of makeup on. I'm determined this season to not look like a schlub every episode.
Okay.
So that is my commitment to you and to our viewers and to myself.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good.
And especially to Mr. Banks.
Yes.
Who's sleeping beneath the desk and hopefully won't be a demon. Quick update on that front. I replaced his litter box with a normal litter box. So that horrible grating sound you guys have probably heard on recordings is no longer.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So quick overview of the season. We are so excited to dive into official spooky season. We're going to say starting now because it's spooky season year round in our hearts.
Yeah.
We'll have 2 brief hiatuses. Hiati.
I don't know.
It might be. I don't know. One through most of December, and then the other in the spring. That one will be really quick, and then we'll wrap up the season with the last few episodes. It's going to be a 30 episode season just because Amy and I were scrambling to make it to 40.
It's kind of a lot.
It was a lot, and we have full-time jobs, and we do this for fun, not to
professionally.
Keep up with Joneses. Exactly. So would love to do this professionally.
Yeah, same.
But we don't.
I'd drop everything for that.
I would literally drop everything. So anyone out there want to sponsor us, holler. We're ready. So with that, we can dive right in.
Yay. Are you kicking us off?
I'm gonna let you introduce our topic, but we have to talk very briefly about the movies that are upcoming.
Of course, yes.
Okay, so Talk to Me. Have you seen the preview for that one?
For Talk to Me?
Talk to Me? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
This sculpture hand, but it's you shake hands with it, and then it opens this door essentially to the other side, and it's about a college student, I think, who lost her mom, and so is opening the door to try to communicate with her mom. Really, things don't go as planned.
Of course, yeah.
So I was supposed to go see it last week, but I've had some health stuff come up, and anyway, I had to I had to cancel. But I really do want to see it, so I will report back. I will probably see it in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of that. Is it in major theaters?
I don't know. It was, but I feel like I really only saw previews for it in other scary movies, you know?
Okay.
So I don't know.
Not
maybe not really. Yeah.
Not my scene.
But you did see that one preview.
I did. Oh my God. The Exorcist. The remake, I guess. I don't. Yeah. Is it the remake?
No, it's a sequel.
A sequel. Okay.
So Linda Blair is in it. She plays a character in it.
Oh, wow.
Or, no, she is a character in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm really excited. And they managed to get, you saw it. So, they managed to get, the Linda Blair, demon face?
Yes.
They got it, fucking right on.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
We should be surprised given what, effects are available these days. But, yeah, I was still kind of stunned at how incredibly terrifying that looks.
Yes. Yeah. But, and it was a very long preview too.
super long.
Watching the evolution of them, the girls getting slowly possessed,
scarier,
made me so uneasy. I was like, when is this going to be over? I'm just here to see the Barbie movie or whatever it was. Yeah, I don't even remember what it was, but it was too much.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was a lot. I was like creeped out, and I saw it with Noah right before we watched Oppenheimer on IMAX, and we were like close. So I was just like,
this is overwhelming.
Yeah. So anyway, that looks scary as shit. And then for all you listeners out there, Dear David, it's coming out October 13th, which is like the perfect day.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to see how they bring it to life. Cannot wait. So
I know.
Anyway,
oh my God.
Those are just like quick upcoming movies.
Yes.
No,
okay.
Not sponsored, but
quickly remind me, Dear David is the little creepy boy that was in
the head smashed in. Yeah.
But did the person admit that that was fictional?
No.
Or it's
people,
real? Okay.
No, I mean, according to him, it's real. Okay. Allegedly, right? I mean, there's like no way for us to confirm, but it was like super, super active, and then it just stopped. And people followed up with him and were like, what the hell, man? Like, clearly this was made up. And he was like, no, it's not made up. It just, the activity, there's been no activity. So I stopped talking about it. So I don't know if like he managed to get rid of him or the whole thing was made up. I don't know. But I think I'll be curious to see in the opening. I mean, lots of scary movies say this, where it's like based on a true story. Like, we'll see if that's how they do it. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I feel like it's going to be scary.
It's a scary story. And the way he looks is just scary enough on its own.
Really alarming. I wonder if they'll use that one, like, kind of overexposed photo that's like really clear of him in the striped shirt on the chair.
Probably.
Ooh, that gives me like bumps up my back.
Yeah. Chills.
Yeah. So anyway, there's that. The last thing I'll say about The Exorcist too is like I just rewatched it maybe last Halloween time, and I was watching it with my friend, and I literally turned to her and I was like, because it's just not that scary today. Like by today's standards, it's not that scary. The concept is terrifying, but it's so hokey seeming compared to our effects today. That said, both my parents watched it, I think, when it first came out and were terrified.
My parents too, or at least my dad. He's talked about that.
Yeah. But I turned to my friend and I was like, imagine if this were done with today's effects. Like this would be the scariest movie ever. And then that trailer came out and I was like, oh God. So anyway, that's going to be really good. But yeah, on the Dear David note too, if you guys have stories, we want to hear them. We want to integrate more listener stories into the season. And we have some in the chamber ready to share for upcoming episodes. Some kind of themed with the episode, some not. But we want to hear more from you guys. So you can DM us, you can send us a message on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. You can email us at girlsgonespooky@gmail.com. But please send us your stories. Or if you have someone in your life who has stories and you know it, tell them to send it in. Yeah. So, okay, I'm done plugging future episodes. Would you like to introduce our topic?
Yes. Maybe people can guess based on what's going around the news cycle these days. But it's aliens.
Aliens. I'm so excited.
Yeah, same. And I think I've been seeing all those memes, and I think you sent me one about like how they just kind of slid this in and everyone's so burnt out from everything else that it's like, oh, aliens exist. Cool.
Sick.
And it's just like going over our heads. But
yeah,
I love it.
Know.
I'm excited.
I love it too. There was one meme I came across. Maybe I'll find it so we can share it on the Girls Gone Spooky Instagram page. But it was like it was like the government these days. Is that the one that I sent you? It's like a guy like, hey man, and it's like the government, hey man, and he's like, oh hey, like what's up? And he's like, yeah, we're raising inflation rates a little more. He's like, dude, like fucking come on. He's like, oh wait, there are aliens, and he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, like confirmed aliens. And he was like, wait, like the equipment or the guy? And he's like, the equipment and the guy. And he's like, oh, does this like impact me? And the government's like, no, not really. Just letting you know. And he's like, all right, it's fucking okay. Which is, I think
that's how it feels. Yeah. Yeah. I think the one you sent me was The Office, of course. It was Michael being like, I think I will take a nap now or something like that. Yeah.
So funny. Oh my God. So let's start with like a recap. Because I think I went on YouTube and literally watched I didn't watch all of the proceedings because it was a lot.
2.5 hours.
I think I watched a full hour, and then there was like not a lot really like being said. Like it was just being danced around topics.
Right.
And we'll get into that too, because I do think that's actually important. But I went on Reddit. I watched like a highlight reel of like what's the most important kind of back and forths, and like AOC was one. There were a few others, but I took to Reddit and I found a really good kind of like summary of what the heck's going on. So
perfect.
A user named Captain Chalky. I'll read his question because he does a good job and like puts links and stuff. So he says, what's going on with the UFO/UAP disclosure in the bipartisan bill currently being proposed by the Senate? This makes us sound like, I don't know, like the Daily.
I know. Are we a news podcast now?
Paranormal news.
I mean, that might be a new niche that needs to be filled.
I like it. So he says, I follow a few UFO subs purely out of curiosity, and they all seem to be super excited about the potential disclosure by the US government that there is life out there and that we have supposedly recovered extraterrestrial technologies that private companies have been attempting to reverse engineer. We'll get to that in a minute. It's getting really hard to separate the wheat from the chaff and what's actually happening versus the conjecture on certain subreddits that might hold a bit of bias. I've seen extracts posted from the bill speaking about private companies having to surrender any technologies they have, etc. But what's really happening with this bill and how much credibility are these theories getting in the mainstream? So he then links to like Reuters and a few other like indirect links. So a user responded to that named Gucci Reeves, who says, a whistleblower named David Grusch. I don't know if it's Grusch or Grusch. I think it's Grusch.
I think Grusch.
Okay. Yeah. David Grusch, who was formerly, I heard it like 50 times in the proceedings, so it's just incredible. I don't remember, but it's fine. David Grusch, who was formerly a representative to the US's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, or UAP, task force, came forward in June, alleging that the US government had recovered intact non-human spacecraft and the bodies of their pilots. He has also, he had like little green guys, is what I pictured.
That's like
he has
a gasp moment.
When I first read the news, I was like, it's the Onion. This must be the Onion. And then I was like,
no.
Oh, okay.
It's New York Times.
It's the New York Times, yeah. He has also alleged that the secretive program in charge of the captured non-human material has murdered U.S. citizens in order to keep their activities secret. In order to legally act as a whistleblower, Grusch first had to clear all the information he planned to publicly reveal with the U.S. government to ensure that no classified information would be exposed, which they allowed. This could indicate that Grusch has revealed legitimate, non-classified information, but could also indicate that his claims were not classified because they do not relate to an existing government program. After hearing Grusch's story, Senator Chuck Schumer introduced an amendment that would create a commission with the ability to declassify government records related to this topic, which is modeled after a similar commission created to declassify information related to the JFK assassination. This amendment is likely to pass and become law as part of an upcoming defense spending bill. I think actually maybe it did pass already because this was written like 22 days ago. So it may have already passed. It may be waiting for Biden's signature. I'm not sure. We can follow up on that.
Yep.
Up to this point, important detail, no evidence other than individual testimony related to Grusch's claims has been released. Grusch says that he has seen evidence, images, and reports that back up his claims, but that they are classified and cannot be publicly released. So the government allowed him to share up to a point because that classified information just simply can't be shared. So, and then someone else said, a couple other people jumped in with some more like kind of interesting pieces. Someone named Mo Ancien said, it's worth noting too that Grusch didn't just pop up with an interview. So he's been vetted by an inspector general to whom others have corroborated his assertions. So he's the face of this like whistleblower moment, but he's not the only person working here. And I'll just jump into this one last piece from this article and then we can kind of debrief. But Mycroft 2000 said, the iceberg simply isn't made of what so many people seem to hope. So maybe there are secrets here regarding governments or corporations testing new technology, but anyone hoping for proof of alien life will probably be disappointed. Not because the government is so good at keeping it quiet, but because as of yet, there's zero evidence of this actually happening. That said, if this were a conspiracy, it would require thousands of people to be in on it, and no one is spilling the beans. So, like, also Trump wasn't president. I read that somewhere. Someone was like, really? You're telling me that man was in office for 4 years and he didn't fucking leak that? Like, which wasn't privy to it, but still, it's interesting.
Right. It is.
So, what are our thoughts?
I want to believe it. Like, I'm ready to believe in aliens, but maybe I'm just kind of primed to want that based on my other interests in life. And it doesn't scare me at all. Like, I think my mom's reaction, she was like, oh God, like, I don't want to think about that. But I'm like, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, there has to be alien life.
Right.
It may not look anything like us, but like, or have the technology to come to see us.
Right.
But I mean, it has to exist. So
yeah. Right.
I don't know. One I guess like theory that I came across that's like a pretty popular one because there's no actual evidence, right? Like that's a super valid hole to poke here. Where's the evidence? Like I actually read that it wasn't even Grusch who saw some of the evidence. Some of the evidence other people told him they saw. So it's like, okay,
I think
so his stories are corroborated, but like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, right. And you're right. I think I read that his entire testimony was based on what he had heard from, I think, 40 other people who were on this task force. So he said he could give all this information, like where the evidence is located and like people who informed him
would know.
In a closed hearing. So he was willing to do that, is my understanding. But none of it is his own experience. So.
Which is suspect and also makes more sense in a way because like I wouldn't want to come forward, especially because half of the claim here isn't even about aliens. It's about a conspiracy that the government has murdered people to protect its secret, which then kind of comes back to the like, if thousands of people are in on it and no one spills the beans, well, maybe people have spilled the beans and they've been killed for it.
Yeah.
Or silenced somehow. So I don't know. One thing that's interesting is sort of the piece of like private tech companies working on this technology or whatever and trying to like reverse engineer it.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, there's one video that we definitely will share on our page because it's like, it's very weird. And it's allegedly been confirmed to not be a fabrication, but it's a video of UAP and it's like military personnel in the recording. You can hear them talking over it.
Right.
So the like TLDR of the whole thing is like UFOs or UAPs have been confirmed here in our atmosphere. Crashes have also been confirmed. Reverse engineering confirmed that this is not tech from that we're on our planet aware of, and biological entities have also been confirmed. So in addition to that, there's the government handling of the whole thing, but that's kind of separate. So essentially, like, what someone did like a deep dive into what exactly the reverse engineering even means. And it's essentially like retrieving the UAP and figuring out how it operated. So like, how did it fly? How did whatever? It probably was, we wanted to try to understand like how it was made, but also in order to like copy some of those components, like for our own technology, and to see if they behave in the same way that the UAP did, like on video, for example. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit interesting, like in terms of all the different kind of like angles, I guess, that the guy. So, and then one of the other, I feel like I'm like kind of all over the place, but there's just so much information. One of the other like main arguments is like, really? And like aliens are only obsessed with the United States? Like, no fucking way. There's this like concept of American exceptionalism and a general kind of obsession with conspiracy theories that exists here and just doesn't as much in other parts of the world. But I don't know. That one to me feels a little bit like, well, yeah, I'm sure if Russia also or China also have information, like, they're not going to fucking share it with us. Like, no. This is barely unifying our own political system, let alone the geopolitical stage. There's just no way that we would share that unless there were an imminent attack.
Yes.
In which case, hopefully. But even then, I don't know.
Yeah, and what if, I mean, they could be at like a similar stage that we're at in this process. Like, this has only been coming out in the last couple years. So maybe we're just like a little bit ahead that this is becoming widespread news. And who knows if someone else, other countries are to follow. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, why would China tell us anything when it's so secretive in general about everything? So I don't know.
But what do you think, like in your heart of hearts, like, what do you think this is?
I don't know. I want to believe that it's like not a little green man, but life, like life that lives elsewhere. And I don't know really why I want to believe that, but I think it's just fascination with like, I don't know, these existential crises that I think we all have of like, why are we here? What is the point of our life being the way that it is? And maybe other people, aliens, are living a similar experience somewhere else. It's just a fascinating idea to me.
Yeah. No, me too. Me too. That's exactly my feeling, like in terms of my wanting to not just believe, but to know. Like, I want to see evidence. I want to see that, like, this shit's fucking real. Because I mean, it lets you zoom out a lot potentially, depending on where they came from. Like, I don't know. I mean, these people all swore under oath, you know, like all the stories were sworn under oath. Now, people have lied under oath plenty of times, but I don't know. I mean, it just seems really like like if it's so absurd that I feel like the checks, in order for it to have gotten to this stage of like an open hearing, have to
Right.
have been bonkers. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, what a
Mm-hmm.
joke. We'd be like the laughing stock of the world.
Yeah,
Well, we kind of
exactly.
are, but like
We
for other
are.
reasons as
Uh-huh.
well. But I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. No, and why, like David Grusch, I think it was in an NPR article that he said he's been experiencing what he called like administrative terrorism ever
Yeah.
since trying to come out with this, where he's just ridiculed and his professional, like his career has
Yeah.
been, he's like not taken
Picked
seriously
apart.
anymore. And
Because of course not.
yeah, so why would someone do that just to stick to the bit? Like if it's a
Yeah.
conspiracy, you're taking it
That's
way too far.
commitment.
Yeah.
That's commitment to the bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that too. And also, if you think about like, okay, when you think of whistleblower, I think we all
Mm-hmm.
think of Ed Snowden,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like he sacrificed everything
Right.
for truth to be
Mm-hmm.
out.
Yep.
And that's really noble, especially when you have evidence, like hard evidence. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
Grush is doing it knowing he has nothing physical to
Right.
present. He
Mm-hmm.
has the paper trail. He says he has the paper trail of where
Right.
you can find these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I think about it like first of all, the fact that we have a UAP task force,
That says something.
that says
Mm-hmm.
something. Like,
Yeah.
I think most, I don't want to say educated humans, most humans who are educated and also open minded human beings
Mm-hmm.
are pretty accepting of the fact that statistically there is life out there.
Right.
It may not be sentient in the way we are, it may not be
Mm-hmm.
whatever. There are thousand, millions, billions, trillions of different things it could be that we can't even like wrap our heads around. That may not even be
Yeah.
able to survive in our atmosphere. But
Mm-hmm.
like there's stuff out there. There
Right.
has to be.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which, justifies having a UAP task force or whatever, partially because like UAPs can also be like things from another country. That could be a
Yeah.
national security issue as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like alien
Yeah.
technology.
Right.
But like if I'm going to be really pessimistic isn't the word, but like well, I'll just say it. I think there are like two outcomes that I think are like realistic for a team like that when they come across something that they can't explain. One
Mm-hmm.
is to kill it, like shoot it down, bury the evidence
Right.
because it's just fucking scary,
Mm-hmm.
or and just like too much, like too big, too much.
Mm-hmm.
Chalk it up to it's another country, maybe not like look the other way, kind
Mm-hmm.
of.
Yep.
And the other path I see is like use it, make it like the highest level of security clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Only those people can access it, and including like working in plausible deniability for leaders, even like
Right.
security generals and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, but or for most of them. But I also could see it like let's weaponize it, like let's
Mm-hmm.
weaponize it and make this, you know, solidify our position as the world hegemon. Like I
Right.
could totally fucking see that, especially coming
Yeah.
out of the US.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Agreed.
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't know
know.
either. And what would be the downside of the general population knowing that this is definitely true? Like, is there
That's definitely
one?
a question. I mean, remember there was that I feel like we did an episode where people like it was like a flash mob, but not fun. Like it was like people stormed that like area
Oh,
51 or
uh huh.
whatever, like
Yeah.
where it was like alleged, I think
Uh-huh.
it's that. I think it's fear of,
That's true.
for one, I think it's protecting the public
Mm-hmm.
from like mass hysteria, essentially. And
Right.
I guess the consequences of mass hysteria, which is people acting fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we've all seen like War of the Worlds and those like scary alien apocalypse movies. Like, I
Right.
think, I don't know, I think they would want to avoid people freaking out, like
Yeah,
panicking.
I guess that's true. I wasn't thinking about how, yeah, it's probably like people would look to the movies to think about what it would be
Probably.
like. And because that's the most accessible thing for the most
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess there would be
I
some hysteria.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I
Hmm.
had a conversation with my uncle actually, like funny enough, before all this happened,
Hmm.
in at the beginning of July, I guess. And we were on vacation, and somehow aliens came up, and I basically said like, 'cause he's a science teacher, and so it's not like he's like a PhD in astrophysics, but he has like he's very grounded and logical about things, and I
Right.
think he'd like to think that some of these things are possible, but he just like based on the information he does have is just like, yeah, I mean, I'd love to
Hmm.
be proven wrong, but like this is
Yeah.
just how I see it. So we talked a little bit about it, like, because I think I asked him and my mom, like, do you think aliens have like actually visited Earth?
Hmm.
And what he basically said was like, well, there are some things that we just like know to be true about like the universe, like
Hmm.
laws of physics and things like that, that just apply everywhere.
Hmm.
So we, for example, have limitations in terms of space travel, being able to travel certain distances at speeds that are safe. And like we
Right.
would age essentially before like we wouldn't survive the trip to some
Right.
of these like way far out constellations.
Hmm.
So his thing was like, I think he had like kind of three main points and I like wrote them down. So one is like, if their technology is so advanced enough that they could get to us,
Hmm.
one, they wouldn't send entities to do recon. They would do
Right.
that, they would do that from a distance probably. Like we
Hmm.
have technology that allows us to basically like scan a planet. It's more complicated than that, but like
Yeah.
scan a planet, understand basically what's in its atmosphere.
Hmm.
So if they can get to us, they're way more advanced than that. So
Right.
they'd probably know all they'd need to know from afar. Two, they would communicate with us if that was their intention, or just terraform our planet, like again,
Hmm.
from a distance, like just be
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck humans, like whatever,
Uh-huh.
immediately upon contact versus like, and then if they're so advanced, how are they being so careless as to be spotted without
Right.
communicating anything with us? It's
Hmm.
like even how they're depicted in the movies. It's like they're these like little green guys and they're like beep boop
Yeah.
beep boop. And
Beep.
then they're like kind of dumb.
Yeah.
They're like not really that smart, which is just
Right.
kind of not logical at all.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
And like to
that's
get
true.
spotted repeatedly,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm.
He makes
Hmm.
good points. Like it does make sense unless I don't know, unless most of these UAPs are unmanned,
Right.
like there's no one in them, and so
Hmm.
they're sending them for whatever reason. Like I don't know, but then they're all very different. So it's like,
Hmm.
is it the same alien civilization
Right.
or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, are
I
there
don't.
multiple sets of
Mhm,
ETs coming around?
mhm. At the
Like
same time,
that's, yeah, right.
yeah. I don't know.
Whoever's controlling us in this simulation is having a fun time right now.
They're having a really fun time. So this is kind of like the meat and potatoes of like my content for today is this like UFO video, and
Mhm.
we'll share, like I said, we'll share it on our Instagram, but it's essentially a black and white image, and it's this like little, it looks like a little like pod, and it's, or not image, but video. It looks like a little pod, and it kind of like hovers like this, like back and forth, like it's kind of vibrating, and then will just suddenly like make moves laterally and vertically and horizontally. Like it moves in a way that just makes no sense based on anything I've ever seen. And there's all this military like chatter in the background that doesn't really make a ton of sense. And I think someone actually like explained what they were saying, because it's random words. It's like Omaha kid, Rafael Peralta. It's like what?
Yeah.
So they're saying something along the lines of break Omaha kid Rafael Peralta passability to launch Hello ASAP. So it's, they explained like, and this is someone who was in the military, they said, this is Deep East Oakland is the user on Reddit. So it's probably a TAO or a tactical action officer asking several other units for their ability to launch a helicopter. There was a name in between Omaha and Kid that he couldn't make out, but he said the rest of these are actually ship names. So these would be like sea-based helicopter pads or what are they called? Like the aircraft landing strips. The USS Omaha, the USS Kidd with 2 Ds, and the USS Rafael Peralta. So it's probably, the video is probably taken on a ship in a small fleet, and they're all probably pretty close by, which means there's similar video from different angles. And that's probably why this one got elevated to Congress. He said a lot of this is speculation, but you can see a lot of weird stuff through an FLIR, which I think is maybe the
radar.
The radar, like what you're actually seeing in the video. He goes on to say the video jumps, and then you can hear a weather report being given to the captain of the ship. He says, we have 31 knots, sustained winds, gusts up to 40. And then they're discussing weather parameters for launching the helicopter or a small boat. And then he explains, like, I sailed with the U.S. Coast Guard and used to talk on the radio a lot. So this was a little bit of a throwback, trying to make out garbled Navy transmissions over years. And he goes on to say, like, launching a helicopter from a ship is actually very complex because there's so many moving parts and people involved. So it's very dangerous. So it's interesting is, like, how much interest there would have to be in something like this in order to get a helicopter off of one of these boats. And then he goes on to say one person, that missing word was Pinckney, which is another name of a ship. So I don't know.
Is that the video with the little, like, they look like Tic Tacs and they're like moving?
Kind of. It's like a little black. It looks like a little black button. Like a little.
I'm thinking round. Of a different one.
Yeah, we should just share all of these on our Instagram. They're just very interesting. It's very unnerving seeing something moving in the sky like that. And yeah, so this was one of the leaked videos that was shared with Congress, like the documents that were closed that were shared with Congress, and then it got out somehow. I mean, shocker. But someone named Jeremy Corbell shared it on social media. So anyway, we'll repost those, but it's very interesting. I want to hear everyone's opinion on it. So, three stories and you want to weigh in, let us know. We could set up a little forum on our Facebook page because it's just very interesting.
Yeah. And there's no precedent. This is unprecedented times that we're in. So it's exciting, and I love to talk about it and hear what everyone is thinking, because I'm sure everyone is so different.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is, like, kind of like going full circle. It's interesting. The reactions have been really interesting because there isn't mass hysteria. People are just kind of like, oh, aliens? Okay. Which I just find to be so interesting. And the thing a lot of people are saying is, like, well, yeah, like, you know, we're all up to our fucking ears in bullshit right now. Yeah, like it's just everyone's just fucking done. Like done. So I don't know. I mean, it's really interesting. I'm very curious to see what comes of it mainly, and we'll see. But yeah, if you guys want to weigh in, please do. Maybe we'll set up like a poll on our Facebook page and see what you guys think, because we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. Oh boy.
So that kicks us off for season 3, guys.
It does.
A bit of a brief episode, kind of a heady episode, this one. But we have some very spooky themes coming up. So definitely follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok if you don't already, at Girls Gone Spooky. Again, please send us your scary stories on any of our social channels, as well as via email, girlsgonespooky@gmail.com. Please rate and review the pod on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so more people can find us, more spooky babies can find our podcast. And I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so, other than there's an alien story that we should return to that I had never heard of.
Oh my God, wait,
it all came out around this time. But we can have another alien episode.
I forgot about this one. No, you should share it. You should share it.
Okay. I can be quick about it. Because
you don't have to be.
Plug quickly the movie for it, or the documentary about it. Okay. I haven't seen it because you had to pay for it, and I just didn't feel like committing to that at the moment. So it's called Moment of Contact. And I think I should have written his name down, but I'm pretty sure his name is James Fox is the maker. He has another alien documentary as well. But he has been doing a lot of interviews lately for this movie or documentary, and also just given the times. And I am shocked that I had never heard of this incident. I think this is pronounced Varginha, but I might be totally wrong.
Well, the alternative option is not better. So.
No.
We'll go with that.
Varginha.
Varginha. Oh, it has to be. Oh, I didn't realize it was Brazil. Okay,
Brazil.
It's gotta be Varginha.
Varginha. Okay. Yes.
Varginha, got it.
Varginha, Brazil. And it's been called Brazil's Roswell. So it's
interesting. Okay.
Very compelling story. So on January 20th, 1996, there were 3 sisters. They ranged in age from 14 to 21 years old, and they were walking home when they came across this being. And they described it as a large large-headed biped with spots like veins on its skin and some bumps on its head. Its eyes were 2 red balls, and it seemed very wobbly and unsteady, like it was sick or ailing. They said that it was covered in an oily substance, and it smelled like sulfur. And
okay, demon. I'm hearing demon.
Yes, and that's what they thought too. They thought, we just encountered the devil. Let's run home. And that's what they did. And they told their mom exactly that. We just saw the devil. And so they reported this to local law enforcement. And strangely, not long after, the whole neighborhood was shut down by the military. Like they were on lockdown, and they cleared people out of the neighborhood at gunpoint, according to some sources. So get out.
Heavy reaction.
Yes, very. And there was an inquiry into this incident not until 2010. So it originally happened in 1996, and this inquiry didn't happen until 2010. And they said, it's just a coincidence that the military, they were already there doing maintenance on these army trucks. So it's just a coincidence that they were there at this time.
I don't buy it.
So,
Don't buy it.
No, I mean, but of course they have an explanation for everything. And yeah, anyway, there's just some other weird stuff about this. So this story, I think, has been corroborated. This police officer, he was local. He wasn't military. He was a local police officer. His name was Marco Cerese. Not sure how to say that in Portuguese. But they were patrolling this neighborhood after these girls reported what they saw. And for whatever reason, according to his partner, he saw something and he stopped. And they may have actually captured this being, and there may have been more than one. And
what?
They haven't ever confirmed that, but Brazil's government obviously is involved here.
Right.
So what if they're keeping secrets just like what we're doing? Exactly.
That is like the stupidest argument. Like, well, if other governments would have shared.
Yeah.
No, they fucking wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, because it could be embarrassing. Like, it could be really embarrassing, like you said, to come out.
Or it could give them an edge.
Right.
Like,
true.
Yo.
Yeah. So he maybe handled this being and brought it to wherever they went. And remember, this is January 20th. And Marco, he's 23 years old. He died on February 15th, 1996. He died less than a month after this incident at 23 years old. With no clear cause. He died of sepsis. So he had some sort of infection, but no clear source of infection.
What?
It gives me chills. So...
I totally just got chills. Oh, that poor guy.
I know. So, like, what if he handled this being and it was
I was literally going to ask you, is he still alive? Like, will he be interviewed for the movie? But no.
Unfortunately not. Because, like, what if he got some bacteria that's not responsive to the antibiotics that we have?
Of course.
And
because it's alien.
Right. So that's mysterious. And then also there were 3 different animals at a local zoo that died mysteriously. They all had autopsies, and there was also no clear cause for these deaths.
Okay.
And they're all different species, and they were fed differently, and they were in different parts of the zoo. So they were like, I can't figure out whether there's something being transmitted within the zoo, but the timing was weird for that as well.
Very suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, and they just like dropped dead? Like,
yep. Yeah, they were just found dead.
And they don't know why?
No. According to this article.
I don't know. Okay. Definitely sounds like alien potential. I'm still stuck on demon. The sulfur smell?
Yeah. Could be. And they said these girls that saw it, they said that they could not get the sulfur smell off of them or like out of the area for a long time. So Gross. Maybe it is a demon. Gross. But last thing is that there had been reports of UFOs in this area in the days leading up to this incident. And this is 1996. So there's not social media yet. You can't just like jump on the bandwagon so easily because I'm blanking on the word, the people who saw the UFO were all from different parts of the region, and they all described the same craft. So,
the witnesses.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find. The witnesses. The witnesses. Of course, the witnesses.
The witnesses. That is... Wow.
Yeah. So, Moment of Contact. I'm probably going to rent it at some point.
Yeah.
But, yeah. very interesting incident.
That sounds so interesting. I wonder if it comes to any conclusions.
Probably not. I read a review of it that was like, there's no smoking gun in this, of course, but it's still a very compelling story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, moment of content. I'm gonna watch that because that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. I like completely forgot we had that extra little add-on, so I'm glad you reminded me.
How could you forget about Varginha?
How could I? Varginha. You got a Varginha. Anyway, I won't do the whole spiel again because you've already heard it twice. Yeah. But we love you guys. Welcome back. We're so happy to be back. Stay spooky, you little babies, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
Bye.
Bye.